Welcome back, everyone. This is part 3 of 3 of the intro to VBA and macros. Now, hopefully we've all installed the web drivers and the relevant Chrome driver, and now we can dive straight into our code. So for those that don't know, in order to access the VBA window, you click Alt F11. Once this window has been opened, at the top left-hand side, you will see a list of different projects. This represents all of the Excel workbooks that you currently have open. So if you just want to find the new workbook we've created, right-click on that and insert a module. This now creates a place in which we can write our code. Now, before we dive into the code, guys, this is the AI Observer. So it's not just about learning about VBAs and macros, but it's also how can we use ChatGBT and potentially other generative AI tools to help us in this process to create more efficient code, to create a lot quicker. But also, for me personally, this is all quite new to me, and I found ChatGPT an incredible tool to use to help get up that learning curve a lot quicker. And I'll show you a quick example of how that's done. So we'll go straight into ChatGPT. In fact, before we do that, we need to make sure one thing is done. Now you've all installed your web drivers. We need to make sure that those web drivers are enabled. So if we go to Tools, References, and you scroll down to Selenium type library, click that box to enable it, and click OK. Brilliant, we're all ready to go. So if we jump straight into ChatGPT, I want to show you the question that I've posed to it. So at the top, we've asked for the VBA code for Excel, which obtains the stock price of a listed company based on the input of a ticker. I've already installed a Selenium driver. Now, the reason I've told them that I've installed a Selenium driver is in the hopes that the code will be somewhat altered to be more specific to that type of driver. Here's the answer. It seems like it's given me everything and referenced Selenium. The only problem is that it's asked me to replace the website URL with the actual URL we're using to pull that financial information. Now, because this is ChatGPT and it's intuitive and we don't need to do this ourselves, I've gone back to ChatGPT to say, please, can you update this info to pull the information from Yahoo Finance? It has then regenerated that code for us to use. So, guys, I'm going to copy and paste this now into our VBA window. Now, please bear in mind that this will not always work the first time, and that's why it's really, really important to not only just use this copy and paste method, but to actually dive down into the details and try to understand the code, which we will do in a second, just so that when it comes out and it doesn't work, you know what to try, what solutions there could potentially be to try and fix that issue. And the only way you're going to do that is having a good understanding of the language itself. So we have now entered in our code. We've copy and pasted and done nothing else. Let's run it and see if that works. So it's opened up a browser and it's opened up a message input box, which is asked for the ticker symbol of the company. So our target company in this case will be AAPL, being Apple. And if we click OK and look what's happened to that browser. Okay, well, unfortunately the internet's down at the moment, but as you can see, this is now correctly pulled the URL that we put in our text, and it's added on the ticker to the end, the AAPL ticker to the end of that line, which is correct. So this has all worked fine. Now, what I want to do, you might be thinking there saying, okay, great, Matt, this is fantastic. Anyone can copy and paste code from ChatGPT, but you haven't really taught me anything about VBAs and macros. And I appreciate that. So what I'll do is I'll quickly do a run through from top to bottom, just kind of showing you how you can use the text that it's provided to really learn and understand the language a bit more. I'm not going to spend too much time going into any of the details, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to just shoot me a note. So over here, what's quite useful, and I found this extremely useful with what ChatGPT does, is it includes a line of text to further explain what that code is meant to be doing. And that is done by putting a single quotation mark followed by a text. So anything in green is not actually part of our code. It's just explanatory notes to explain what that part of the coding is meant to perform. So let's dive straight in line by line and have a quick look at kind of the understanding and the process here. So don't worry about sub and in sub. Some of these nuances of the specific VBA language you'll come to grips with over time. So don't get too bogged down on that now. The get stock price, that's what we're calling this action, this VBA that we're coding. So let's dive straight into the first bit of code. So the first thing that we're doing here, as it says, is to set up the Selenium driver. So we've now gone into tools, we've enabled that driver, that Selenium driver. Now we should be able to interact with it. So German is to create a certain variable. So we're creating the variable called driver, and that variable is going to be stored as our web driver. Now the next line of code is then put in there to trigger the start of Chrome and to trigger that WebDriver. So that then opens up the browser and opens up the window. Now, our next point of call is to work out which company, what is our target company that we're trying to find this information for. So if we go to set, so in this next line of code, it says dim ticker as string. So dim is setting that variable. So set the variable ticker. So we've called it ticker as our variable. We're going to store this information as a string. So it's storing. It's creating this variable called ticker, and it's storing it as a string. Now, a string is just another way of saying text. So there's certain, as I said, there's little nuances, whether it's the word integer, which can be referred to as a number, or string in this case is referring to a text. So it's storing this variable called ticker as a text. Now we're going to define what that text is. So what that variable should be. So ticker, the variable we've just created, is equal to the input box. Enter the ticker symbol of the company, which we saw pop up on our screen just now when we ran that code. So this is the code that enables that box to come up and allows us to enter the ticker. Once it's done that, it then puts in that URL and adds that ticker variable that we've just created in order to bring that information up. So hopefully, guys, that makes sense. I'm not going to go much further into it. But as I said, hopefully this gives you a bit of a basis into, how this all works, how to open up VBA, how to start using it. And from here, it's just practice. It's really just practice. I'm in the process at the moment of building a much bigger model that requires a bunch of different ChatGBT prompts. And it's really showing that you still have to have an idea and an understanding of the language in order to edit and make that code work. But guys, that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something new. But as always, any questions, please just give me a shout. Have a good day.